Donald Trump cut the funds heads on South Africa and invited Afrikaners to come and work and live in America. Wow, that sounds very interesting, isn't it? As you all know that for sometimes it is all about uh, conflict between the United States of America and South Africa Republic. Donald Trump have just not promised, but he have to start acting by cutting the funds heads on South Africa and invite Afrikaners to go ahead and live in America. He promised to give them a refugee status for them and their families. Imagine that. That is the promise which Donald Trump is making to the Afrikaners.
Well, the U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to cut financial assistance to South Africa. The White House cited disapproval of the country's land policy and of its genocide case at the International Court of Justice against Washington's ally, Israel. Trump has said without citing evidence that South Africa is confiscating land and that certain classes of people were treated, quote, very badly. South African-born billionaire Elon Musk, who is close to Trump, has said that white South Africans have been the victims of racist ownership laws. Morgan Eyre reports.
The repercussions of President Donald Trump's decision to stop USAID to South Africa are being described as catastrophic. Experts at a South African HIV research centre say it's destroyed the US's credibility. South Africa has the highest absolute number of people living with HIV in the world, and American dollars help them fight the condition.
We had two studies that were funded by USAID. Is one that was developing a new technology to help women protect themselves from HIV. We are not spending any US government money because they don't care about these women in the trial, but we care. And so we will spend our own resources on doing that.
The freeze is in response to South Africa's new Expropriation Act. It allows the government to take and redistribute land in specific instances if it's not being used or in the public interest. It aims to fix the injustices of apartheid, which was a system of institutionalised racial segregation and discrimination imposed by the white minority rulers against non-white people. The law has been referenced recently by Trump ally and advisor Elon Musk. He himself is South African-born and grew up under the system. The White House argues that the new policy is racist against white people.
This act follows countless government policies designed to dismantle equal opportunity in employment, education, and business, and hateful rhetoric and government actions fueling disproportionate violence against racially disfavored landowners.
Earlier in the week, South Africa's president said they had not confiscated any land and that his country will not be bullied. President Cyril Ramaphosa said his government would look at ways to fill the gap left without US funding.
Just imagine that. That is Donald Trump, who just signed a bill to cut off South Africa fundings. As he promised, he start now making his promise become a reality. Why so? Why is he seem to be in so hurry? Why is he rushing? This matters even though the government of South Africa, they have tried to communicate with the USA embassy in order for them to see on how they can try to talk about this. Because it is Donald Trump who came and announced in social media on what he's planning to do for South Africa. When South African government believed that we were all in good terms with the USA. But all just happened so fast to the point that Donald Trump, he decided to come and announce the cutting of these funding heads on South Africa. Well, just in case maybe you miss what Donald Trump had said before he gets to take these actions, we want to refresh your mind by trying to tell you exactly or to show you exactly what Donald Trump have said.
It all started on Sunday with this statement from Donald Trump.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa. They're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
The U.S. president offered no proof of his claim, but threatened to cut off all funding to South Africa. Trump appeared to be reacting to a land expropriation law enacted last month by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, one that makes it easier for the state to seize land in the public interest. The new law aims to address the gaping land ownership disparity in South Africa, a result of decades of white minority rule under apartheid. White people make up around 8% of South Africa's population, but own 3/4 of the nation's freehold farmland. In response to Trump, Ramaphosa said the South African government has not confiscated any land and that he looks forward to clarifying the land reform policy with Washington. South Africa's mineral resources minister had a tougher reaction.
And they said, let's not mobilize Africa. Let's withhold minerals to U.S. That is it. If they don't give us money, let's not give them minerals.
Trump's interest in this issue may be coming from one of his closest allies.
Take over, Elon!
Elon Musk, who was born in South Africa. The world's richest man has also attacked Pretoria, accusing his homeland of allowing a genocide against white farmers. Trump's threat is already impacting South Africa's economy. The nation's currency, stocks, and government bonds all weakened on Monday.
It is obvious. It is now obvious that Donald Trump is being misled, because when you watch in this report that we played for you, you'll definitely agree with me that Donald Trump is being misled or being seduced, which we are going to discuss with you in a second, so that we can get to understand why Donald Trump is letting himself being seduced by Elon Musk and for what reasons. That's something that we're going to reveal more secret about it in a short. But let us try to focus more now. Why Donald Trump have to come and say all this? Is this something that started just when Donald Trump became the president of America for the second term? Or is this something which has been going on? Well, once again, to refresh your mind, I'll remind you that this is not the first time that this kind of issue took place. In his first term, in 2018, Donald Trump once again tried to raise the same problem. And for those who've been watching me for all these years, I have said that Donald Trump, he has some highlights who are representing the US in South Africa. Among these Afrikaners who are in South Africa, there are those who are busy reporting everything that is happening about South Africa politics. They get to report it on the other side of the border. And I had mentioned Africa Forum for being a group or an organization which is playing a very big role from all this, because they're the one who get to report each and everything that happens in South Africa. Donald Trump once came and said what he had to say by attacking the government of South Africa, by raising up the problem of land, because obviously in the parliament, the problem of land without compensation, it was raised whether by the MP or the opposition political parties such as the EFF. But Donald Trump, as he raised up this problem, well, President Cyril Ramaphosa could not keep quiet about it. Cyril Ramaphosa decided to come and give this answer to President Trump by telling him this.
Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Kaori. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues and we will not get involved in your issues in America.
Well, this powerful answer from President Cyril Ramaphosa, it is an answer which had raised a lot of polemic over there in the USA between the Democrats and the Republicans. It was all about battling now. They kind of like saying to Donald Trump that how come an African leader have the guts to talk to you in such manner? Some they were like, no, this African leader have to talk to him in such way because Donald Trump did not know how to respect his boundaries. Donald Trump kind of like crossing the red lines by trying to involve in the matters which does not concern him. So he had become, if like a livestock for most of Americans over there. And this it is something which had revolted Donald Trump. He became so angry about it. And that is where everything began. That is how the conflict between South Africa with the USA started. But again, they thought maybe they were talking to one of those African countries where they get to impose their leadership on. So Donald Trump did not keep quiet about it. As time passed by, President Cyril Ramaphosa was being interviewed by one of the journalists, biggest journalists from the CNN. This is American media. And as they were doing that interview, at the end of the interview, this journalist had to go and rewaken up again the same thing to Donald Trump by asking Mr. President Ramaphosa what will be his last message to Donald Trump if he have to address Donald Trump. And here you have to keep in mind that it was during the time when Donald Trump had called African nations as old, or shall I say as old. In other words, Donald Trump had insulted Africans by calling them names, saying that no, Africans were as old. So this journalist had to ask President Ramaphosa, like, now that you are in the USA, can you at least try to pass a message to Donald Trump and tell him exactly what is in your mind right now? So since President Ramaphosa had already have this kind of conflict with Donald Trump for the fact that he have to come and raise the problem of land in South Africa with Afrikaans, while President Ramaphosa had to pass this message to Donald Trump by saying this.
President Trump, as a leader of an important country like the United States, it is important for you not to disrespect or show any disrespect to any country in the world. We want the United States to engage with the world, with other countries, with due regard, with respect, particularly Africa. Africa is the origins of humanity, and you must therefore respect your origins. President Trump's origins and his roots are in Africa.
Guys, that is President Ramaphosa who had to give a lesson, who have to teach Donald Trump on how to respect Africans. This message, personally, I think it is the kind of language which I would prefer to see each and every Africans, especially our African leaders, to be having this kind of saying whenever we're being attacked by the Western. This is what we usually call a fearless language, political language toward another nation. Because we can't always keep letting these people to come and treat us like we're nothing. We can't let these people continue treating us like we don't have that value before their eyes. So I think we should be going toe for toe whenever we're being attacked by the Western. And we salute President Ramaphosa for that kind of language toward the president of the US, Donald Trump, back then, when he had to call Africans as all such kind of language, which is a very big insult for the African nations. Now, guys, let us back to the root of how did we get to this point. So, after Donald Trump had come up and threatening up the government of South Africa, saying that he's going to cut the funds heads on South Africa if they don't stop this policy of the land without compensation. Besides Donald Trump coming back on President Trump and responding back to him, well, there were many other political leaders, or shall I say opposition leaders, who also came and react about it. But this time I want to focus more in the ANC. We then saw Tate Gwedemantash, who had to come also and give this powerful answer by reminding Donald Trump that we are not beggars as Africans. Instead, we have something which we can do in exchange. So don't see us as beggars.
With this standing threat that, yeah, because you passed an Exploration Act, therefore Trump would withhold funding to South Africa. And they said, let's not mobilize Africa. Let's withhold minerals to US. That is it. If they don't give us money, let's not give them minerals. But the reality, they take our minerals, but say why we're withdrawing funding. No, we have minerals in the continent. And therefore we have something that we have. We're not just beggars, but we must just use that endowment for our benefit as a continent. But if as a continent we are frightened, we fear everything, we are going to collapse, and will collapse with minerals at our doorstep. So my appeal is that Africa is the world's richest mining jurisdiction. And that issue is an issue that we must internalize as a continent, use it to our advantage.
Guys, you know, one thing for sure, or what I like from all this, is for the fact that Gwedemantash he spoke not only for South Africans, but he spoke for the entire Africa continent. And behind these words, I see a message. I'm sure you might be asking, what kind of message did I pick up from all this? Well, I'm seeing two types of message. The first one, that is Gwedemantash trying to pass a message by reminding Africans that we need to be united now more than ever if we ever want to keep our sovereignty as a black Africans. If we ever want to stop these people from treating us in this kind of ways, if we ever want to see these people respecting us, we need to be united. The second message, I see Gwedemantash trying to tell Africans that no, we can't continue to be bullied in this kind of way. We can't allow the US or the Europeans to continue bullying us each and every time, even when they are wrong. They rather prefer to bully us instead of them assuming what they have done to us is wrong and apologize. No, they rather prefer to keep their position. Proof to that, you guys, you saw recently with Emmanuel Macron on how he disrespected Africans by calling Africans that we are so we are so ungratitude. We don't even try to respect France. Why? Because these leaders, whenever they come to talk about Africa, they don't have that value. They don't have that respect for Africans. And the message that Gwedemantash have to pass in all this is by reminding Africans of who we are and what we have, which is true, by the way. Whether we like it or not, we are having something which the world need today. All these powerful nations around the world, they are not fighting over nothing. They are fighting because they know that if we are having African minerals, we'll be able to do everything that we need to do around the world. So government have to come and tell Donald Trump that no, stop these kind of things. South Africa has been through a lot. You can't come in telling us how to do things. We are a sovereign country and we deserve to be treated as so. Not you coming and telling us how you do things. You guys read President Ramaphosa, who had even to remind Donald Trump, you don't know nothing about South Africa land. You don't know nothing. You've never been in South Africa. So what give you the guts for you to be standing out there and saying whatever you are saying? Obviously, because he's being misinformed. He don't have the proper information on his desk. Someone who comes and whisper on his ear, and he had to buy the side of story of Elon Musk. That's the reason why you saw them having that kind of courage. But here at Cool Buzz TV, I'm not surprised at all. If Elon Musk have to have that kind of influence on Donald Trump, I can't be surprised. Do you know why? Because we're talking about the most richest man in the world right now. With all this Tesla, with all this satellite, with all this, the guy is just money. Number one. Number two, I'm not surprised because we all know that among all the Donald Trump donors who sponsor his campaign, there's no one who had donated more money than Elon Musk. We can even Google it in your phone. Elon Musk gave more than 125 million US dollar. Guys, do you know what you can do with 1 million US dollar? Because if you take 135 million US dollar, you put it in your currency here in Africa, you find out that it is a budget for some of African countries. Of course, those budgets which we know that it is run by the corrupt government, but with all the mineral resources that we do have in Africa, I don't think there will be a country which can be having a budget of 5 or even 50 million. We're talking about African countries which have trillions of US dollar. But unfortunately, just for the fact that all our leaders are more corrupt, so this is what they're presenting us, and that's the reason why we have just to come and read it loud. So this is the men who have a very big impact, who had contribute a lot to Donald Trump campaign. And proof to that, because Donald Trump, you don't have much to give him in return. The only thing he can do for him is to bring him more closer to him. He offer him a seat in his parliament. And who is Elon Musk? This is the man who's part of Afrikaans. His routines are Afrikaans. He was born and raised up here in South Africa. He knows quite a lot. This is a man whom we all know that is a racist. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Proof to that, see the way he's behaving. When black South Africans are being killed each and every day out there by these so-called farmers, they kill them, they bury them right there inside the farmers. Where's Elon Musk? What does he say about those black South Africans? Many people are being killed in this country. Have you heard Elon Musk taking a stand in order for him to come and stand together with people of South Africa? I'm referring to black South Africans, saying that, no, my fellow South Africans, I'm with you on this one. No. This guy is now multi-billionaire. Tell me what have him ever tried to invest in South Africa? We're having problem of unemployment, which is in a very high number. Tell me what has ever Elon Musk come in South Africa and said that, okay, since you guys were having this problem, let me solve it out. Load shedding. Tell me, have him ever tried to show something in support of all South Africans? These are the sign of showing that we're not dealing with someone who's just saying nothing, but we are dealing with a racist man. He don't care. The only things he cares is about their minority of white South Africans. Forgetting that in this country, there's not only white people as minority. No, we have Indians. We have a colored community. There's a couple of minority people. Why they never make this as a problem and only this one having problem over it? So guys, I'll talk more about it in a short. But let us back to this because we get to see different reactions from political leaders in South Africa. And this time, We then saw Julius Malema, who had also to come and pass his message as he was being asked this question in media. Julius Malema, who had to come and say this during his press conference.
We've made it very clear that we are more than prepared to join the ANC and work in the government of national unity. But we can't do it with the people who killed Krisani, the people who tortured our own people, the people who oppressed us, the people who are advocating that every progressive policy must not be implemented. That's why you've got this noise from Donald Trump. They are at the center of that. They thought they were going to bully the ANC in that GNU, and the ANC will develop a cold feet. The ANC is pushing forward ahead. They now are seeking external intervention, which seeks to undermine the sovereignty of South Africa. So the ANC must know that we are just outside, we're at the doorstep. Once they remove the DA and they want a partner, we are in. There's no government that is going to collapse here because Helen Zille says so. We're not going to hear from Helen Zille. So
that is Julius Malema, who had also to give his point of view concerning all these matters. Because Donald Trump having that kind of courage to come in media and saying whatever he said about South Africa, which is lies. Because so far, according to our knowledge, there is no land which has been taken away from anyone. There is no law so far, which we know that the Parliament of South Africa, they had voted in order for this land to go somewhere. But even if that is the case, the question still remains. Is South Africa government doing the right things, yes or no? Is South Africans deserve to have this kind of a policy, yes or no? And we all know without lying that the answer is yes. Why? Because the truth is that the land which these people they are in possession of, it was not taken in the rightful ways. This land belongs to someone. This land, it was being cheated. It was being taken away by force. We all know this. That's the reason why we have a word called colonizations of former colonials. We have things such as the apartheid regime, because these are the people who were just imposing things around people. They never asked for anyone will. And also, let us not forget the history. The history taught us that these people, they came. They were not here. They came. And when they came, this place was not empty. There were people who lived there. Now, did them follow the whole necessary protocol in order for them to have this land? No. If they did, where are the proof? Who signed? Should we say Shaka Zulu? Or who, I mean, no one was not even part of this. This was kind of an agreement which happened between them. That is even the reason why they were busy fighting among themselves. This one said that no, us we're gonna take Johannesburg. Another one is like, no, us we should take Pretoria. Another one said like, no, we should take Cape Town. So it was all about fighting, and these are the facts. Now, why are they making it this become a taboo whenever we have to talk this kind of matters? Why are they seeing this as a problem whenever South Africans have to raise this as an issue? Guys, now, do you understand how important the land it is? Because most of Black South Africans, we seem not to understanding what is happening here. For you to know how important the land is, look how these people, how they get whenever the matter of land is being raised out there. See how angry they get. This is a sign of showing that with a land, you have everything. If you don't have a land, you are nothing. Because people who know the value of having a land, see how they get to fight. They fight within the South Africa politics, they fail. They went on in the parliament, they failed because they don't have majority over there. Even though right now they are in the government of national unity, they know very well that when it comes to that law, that day they will see they will actually, this law actually, it will waken up the beast out of South Africans who will be sitting in that parliament, because that is the day you guys are gonna see the MK of Jacob Zuma, the EFF of Julius Malema, the ANC of Ramaphosa, and all these other small political parties of South Africans. They will put their power together to vote for this motion or for this law to pass. And they know that once this pass, well, there will be nothing. Why? It's not like there will be nothing. The way I'm trying to say it, no. What I'm trying to say is that we're having people who want to treat black South Africans as they are nothing, because they still have the mentalities of the Westerns, because they still have that racist within them, because they don't want to eat to the same table with a black person, because they don't want to groove around black people. Look where you groove. How many of Mulungus do you see around? Are you gonna tell me them? I mean, are you gonna tell me that these people don't groove? These people that don't drink? No, of course they do, and they do it in the worst parts. But they don't want to associate with you. This is the kind of mentality they have. They just want to see black South Africans as their workers and not in a equal ways. So they know very well that having this land, it is what put them in possession of the South African economy, whereby they are able to control the South African economy. They are having about 85% of South African economy right into their hands. They are the one who get to monitor all these things. Never mind about if you go somewhere or maybe in a certain company, you find a black South African there as a CEO, as a manager or something, like maybe a director, let's say, put it that way. Never mind if you find them there, because they are the one who get to monitor everything's behind. And all this, it is all thanks to the land which they have took by force from South Africans. The day now when the government of South Africa will decide and say that, no, look, what about if we go equal to these matters which concern the land? Guys, because they don't want to see themselves in the same level with black South Africans. That's what is driving them insane. That's why you see them, they're making all this effort to work with such a group as a Africa Forum, working with Elon Musk, and trying to use Trump, who had a lot to pay to Elon Musk. Because I have said it before. I said it, I say, no, guys, let us try to understand something here. If this Elon Musk is busy sponsoring Donald Trump in this way, you must know that because he's up to something, something is up to happen. He wants to have something that he can use against Donald Trump. And that's what is happening today. How come, as a head of the state, you are being told of something? You did not even bother to investigate. Instead, you just jump straight away in the media and start accusing another sovereign country. Oh no, South Africa, they are treating people like this, they are treating people like that. Guys, I don't know if maybe you understand it more properly. I don't know, serious, because I think it's very important that we just try to focus a bit on what Donald Trump has to say, because we need to understand this word very well. Listen to what Donald Trump said.
It all started on Sunday with this statement from Donald Trump.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa. They're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
The U.S. president offered no proof of his
Right there. Right there. That is the head of the state who have to come and say those kind of allegations toward another country. The less what Donald Trump would have done was for him to go ahead at least to investigate and see whether whatever is being told by this boy Elon Musk, whether it is real, is true or not, instead of him just coming in media and make such kind of allegations towards South Africa. But is it only because of Elon Musk? No. Here's another big secret that we want to reveal it to you. Donald Trump is doing all this because he had promised to punish each and every state or every world organizations which did not side with the Israel government for the crime which they had committed in Palestine against Palestinian people. Trump, he had promised and is now busy executing his old promises so far. Do you know what he did recently to ICJ, this International Court of Justice, whatever they call it? The same court which had found, how to call this one, Benjamin Netanyahu guilty and launched an arrest warrant